We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
and I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode 1964, and today we're going to talk about a couple topics. First, how Jill and I kind of make buying and selling land easy, and we're going to deconstruct that and see what's easy and maybe what's somewhat more challenging. And then after that, we're going to talk about working at full speed ineffectively.
You know, I was going to say about the first topic, this came up because it happens often, and this person brought it to my attention, and I had to say, you're right. He's like, oh, you make this sound easy. I'm like, you know what? Hold on. No, you're right. Like I feel bad. I feel like it's something I'm doing a little bit wrong, if you will, because I'm like, I just buy it, sell it for more, double your money, get out fast. That's it. Like, an hour a day, especially if you're new, maybe 2 hours. That's not the case. So I want to really talk about that and let everybody know what's really going on. A lot of this comes out, especially this last month. I've been really helping out our sales team, and I've been doing a lot of the initial Land Academy inquiry calls myself. And I've been telling people that, explaining this, I should say, over the phone. That's when they really get a handle of, what's really involved. So I thought I'd help the planet here too.
Well, I think the root of this, and the root of everything really is you got to look inside yourself and say, okay, here's what they're saying. Here's this concept of buying and selling land. How does it fit in my world, or does it?
And I don't want to get into the show. Well, I'll save it for the show.
Each week on the show, we answer questions from our Land Academy member Discord forum, review land acquisitions from our weekly member webinars, and take a deep dive into 2 land-related topics by popular request. If you want a sneak peek of our Discord forum, go to thelandacademy.com. It's free.
Under resources, if you're looking for it. It's really cool. And by the way, if you would like us to answer your question here, or just simply need some help getting involved in our community, don't forget you can easily text us to 480-530-7383. All the texts are read, and again, your question just might pop up here. All right, the Stevenson brothers wrote, so generally, what are land buyers offering? 20 to 50% of retail seems to be the amount. Please send me any quick thoughts on the exact percent of this. Want less? Take me off your list, and more deals, obviously, like if you offer less. Thank you. Generally, what are land it's a repeat there, sorry. Shannon, one of our members wrote in. Shannon already replied, which is correct. Man, it all depends. And sometimes how competitive the market is that you're mailing, that makes a difference too. So I'm going to stop right here and let you answer, because nobody knows better than this guy.
So pricing your mailer is really important. And there's no specific, this is a very, very popular question, top 5 probably questions of all time, and it's something that we spend at least 2 modules on in our career path advanced program. So there's no magic percentage. You can't say in Michigan it's 20%, in Utah it's 24%, or even in county by county or zip code by zip code. It has to be some percentage that you believe is enough attractive enough to keep someone's attention, and not too high where you're obviously pricing yourself out, offering too much money, and removing the possibility of profit margin for yourself. For us, that generally hovers around 20%. And so, but the actual way to make sure, the good news, the silver lining in all this is at the end of your mailer, you need to spend several hours testing for reason. There's no way out of this. There's no electronic way to avoid this. There's no cute app. There are cute apps out there that are available.
That don't work.
That don't work at all because it takes a manual set of eyes to literally go through your mailer at the very end and pick out maybe, I don't know, one out of every 20, if you're brand new, one out of every 20 lines of offers that are going out, and test it for reason. Test it like you're actually going to buy it. So if the offer came back signed with the offer amount that you sent in, would you do the deal? That's how you really become great at pricing. That's my first point, and it's relative. It always changes. The way that you price per acre on 2 to 5 acres might be very different than how you price 5 to 10, 10 to 20, and 20 to and beyond from an acreage standpoint. Larger acreage property as a price per acre is always lower, always, than a higher than a smaller acreage amount. That's what subdividing is rooted in. Pricing like that. It's the bottle case theory. You can buy a case of beer cheaper than you can buy a single beer. That's how bars stay in business. And, I think hopefully I made that point. And that's just how it is. So we know these are all facts. You just have to, and this is all explained in great detail in the products, the Land Academy 3.0, and of course, the career path. Crazy amount of detail. And as far as Shannon's response goes, it all depends on how competitive the market is that you're mailing. I could not disagree with this more. And it's not anything towards Shannon or anybody at all. These are very good questions and they need to be discussed so we can all become better land investors.
So you don't agree with Shannon?
No.
Oh.
No. I completely disagree. If you're in a competitive market, you have to ask yourself why.
Oh, well, there is that.
And
so
you have to ask yourself if let me put you into Jill's shoes for a second. When Jill believes that she has competition from 6 people sent an offer to one landowner, here's what's really going to happen with that. 2 people aren't going to respond. So a seller calls 6 people back, all equally. Yeah, I got your offer, and it's all the same price. This is a theory. This is an academic exercise. 2
Not
people aren't
reality.
going to even respond at all.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. 1 or 2 more might answer the phone like this. Yeah, okay. I know I sent you, and that leaves Jill, and bubbly Jill over here is going to befriend the person. She's going to throw her dynamic personality all over the seller.
make it easy.
Make it easy and fast, and yep, you're going to get your money. And thanks for responding because we're in this business together, and we're here to provide you a service.
Thanks.
And so we're going to get the deal done. Jill's going to get the deal done. And so I don't believe in this this competitive market. And to cap that point to the end, think about a regular real estate agent office. There's 10 people sitting around trying to get in a closed market. We're in an open market. It's free. Free market, 150 million properties that are potentially you can buy and sell today or at any given time. There's 10 or 15 real estate agents in a closed market, maybe one or 2 zip codes at most, maybe half of a zip code in an urban area trying to get the same listings. And somebody in that office is going to do fantastically well. That's the way all real estate agent offices. So those 2 people over there, they're never in the office, by the way. Those 2 people are smashing it, and the rest of them are wondering why. And so, which side do you want to be on? I don't believe in the competitive. Just be at the top of if it is a competitive market. First of all, I wouldn't mail a competitive market.
Well, I have a thought on that.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me back up here, because there could be a personal reason that someone's looking in a market. For example, you and I, truth time, have been driving the country. As you can see, we're still in our RV. We are still up in Michigan. We're in the northern lower Michigan. I've learned this. So the upper lower, that's it. Anyway, there might be places that you personally want. There's one example, and I don't care what's going on in the market. I really want to be in there, like personally for my use. So that might be a reason that I would accidentally I would purposely mail offers in a more competitive area, and I would mail them a little more aggressively. I'm not going to buy retail. That's not who we are. I don't care what it is. Our primary residence, anything, we are not spending retail. We're going to make a deal because that's who we are. But I might change my percentage a little bit. So that could be where Shannon's coming from. Just a thought. But I agree with you. The big picture is I don't want to play with that. When these deals come back, or is it even a better example? when I look at would you do this deal on our Thursday member call, right? And we'll pop into Zillow or something like that. Boy, if I see a lot of red dots, like a ton of red dots of for sale property, I don't want to swim in that pond.
And you don't need to. Jill's exactly right. And you don't have to take a lot of notes here. It's all in the red, green, yellow tests. And, and all the systems that we have in place in our education smoke this stuff out for you. Mm-hmm. All of them. If you run the red, green, yellow test, it's going to tell you whether or not to send mail there. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to assess whether or not that market is competitive, or it'll tell you. Mm-hmm. The data tells you everything.
Exactly.
So that competition, just don't mail there, and if you do mail there, you better go in with guns a-blazing. But you need to have a dynamic personality, or the person who answers the phone who works for you needs to have a dynamic personality there. And as far as pricing goes, and I'll close on this to answer the question because it's such a popular question. I did spend more time on it than I thought I would. 20 to 25% is not going to matter. When you're new, you really believe that how you price it is really why they're going to respond. And the fact is, it's not the case. In fact, nearly all the people that we buy property from just want to get rid of it. They probably inherited it. There's some other thing going on in their life. They have some life event. And so they're not going to, they might psychologically want $500 more, a couple $1,000s more. Every situation is different. But obsessing on price is not going to make or break me.
Price is very important. However, don't let it sink the ship.
Yep.
Don't let it keep you from getting that as offers out. We'll help you. You'll get good, and we'll help you.
Yep. All the answers are in the education and on the Thursday call. Today's first topic is, and it's kind of really relates to this previous question. We make this sound easy, but Jill, take it away, because I know you had a real specific conversation with somebody recently that sparked this topic.
Well, it comes up often. People are like, "Oh, I got this." Even when we're talking with our friends. So here's an even better example. You've heard us in the last several weeks, Jack talking about reconnecting with his high school buddies, and a lot of them don't really know what we do, and so we've been sharing with that, and so they think, piece of cake. So far, and one went so far as to say, "Hey, can you teach my kids? Here's the deal. My kids I got a 25-year-old and a 29-year-old, and I got to get them off my couch. So here's what we're going to do." This is like kind of truth here.
No, it's true. Totally true.
Totally true. He's like, "I'm going to buy this for them. Can you just help them and get them on their way and teach them how to do this? Because it sounds like it's easy. They just got to send out a thing, answer the phone, buy a property. They double their money, and they can do this all while playing whatever game on another screen, because that's what they're doing anyway, on my couch." I'm like, oh. So Jack had to very nicely have a very sweet conversation and say, we need to be a truth time here. There's a lot more to it than that. And so that's what I want to talk about today. We wanted to talk about and bring up to you. We get on the air here. We tell you how much we love it, which we do, because we are land people. And we tell you how much
educators.
Yeah, and we tell you how little we work, which is, all of this is true. I'm not making up anything. When I tell you I work a couple hours a week on my land business, oh yeah, I really only work a couple hours a week. It's not that much. Shucks. It's really 3 hours, I'm going to say 2 to 3 hours a week I'm doing it. But why is that? Because I've been doing it for 15 years. That's the reality. And this one since the 90s. So you got to go, oh. So I want everybody to take a step back and realize too, if you are new to Land Academy and you're getting into this and you're like, why do they say it's so easy? I don't think this is easy at all. You're not nuts. You are right. There are a lot of moving parts, especially getting into this. You watch the whole program. I tell people right away, go right to Land Academy 3.0. I want you to watch the whole thing through. Then I want you to go back and rewatch it. Then you start paying attention. Then you start taking notes. Then you start hitting the pause button. Then you have 2 monitors going. So you're doing it right as Jack's doing it. And you're looking at his screenshot, making sure your screen matches his screen. You're getting that into it. And you're spending time on it. And it will take you a little bit. But man, after some time, for some people it's 6 months, for some people it might be 2 years, it'll click and you'll get the hang of this. And you either love it or you don't. And I like to think it's really nice that people that do come to us and when they finally pull the trigger and they're in it, they've done their recon. We have a very smart group. So I don't have people that just go, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Usually they don't even get to that point kind of thing. So, and why you're here for us is to take 10 years or more off of your learning process. You could sit down and start from scratch and take 10 years to catch up with us, or Gen Land Academy take 6 months to catch up to us.
Just forget about the land business for a second.
Yeah.
There's a posting in Discord. There's a section in Discord called Success Stories. Mm-hmm. And the most recent post in there is a guy that I love when people take their own camera and shoot whatever they're looking at, and you can see their feet stretched out on a chase lounge. I do. I really mean it. I'm not being satirical. And that's his whole posting was him taking a picture of a sunset in Greece, and the caption was, "Started my land journey 4 years ago, spending the summer in Greece." That says it all to me.
Yeah.
Because it takes years, and if you have and
that's awesome.
it takes 2 years. My philosophy in life has always been, it takes 2 years to get any real traction in anything. And so again, forget about the land business. Let's say you get accepted to medical school this month, and you start or you start buying and selling land now, and you have equal talents in both. And then in 4 years, you're going to be sitting on a chase lounge, if you're good at it, in Greece for the summer. And you got all the pieces to the puzzle in place. In 4 years in medical school, you're going to be wondering why you ever did this in the first place at all. And in 8 years, when you actually are now a brain surgeon, the 8 years that into your land business, from a financial standpoint, is going to pay out.
You've retired.
Times 80. You'll be done if you're any good at this.
Yeah.
And so you really have to ask yourself, what do you want? Yes, we make this sound easy. If you have the right personality, the right attitude, the right skill set, and some element of life experience, unlike the two kids that can't get off the couch, then yeah, it is going to be easy for you. And Jill and I happen to have that combined, much better together than we would be apart. Mm-hmm. And that's really, for us, that's our kind of niche that we're doing this together. Not everybody does it. I don't think Grease Guy's got his wife involved at all. I don't know. Maybe she's the whole reason he's there and he just took the picture. I'm not sure. I don't know. But in fact, maybe you can tell us and we'll put you on the show. It'd be fun to hear about your 4 years. So you have to, like everything, in my opinion, look in the mirror. So there's tons. I used to say this a lot. I haven't said it in a long time on the show. There's a ton of things that people make it look easy and would be impossible for me in life to succeed at it personally. This is a personal thing. I've tried to play the guitar probably 15 times. I bet I've owned 10 guitars in my life, and I can't really get through one scale. I probably can play 2 chords. It's not because I don't want to, but in the end, it comes down to my lack of raw skill and the fact that, and I could overcome that.
That's
if
what I was
wanted
going to
to
say, yeah.
If I wanted it that bad.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I think you could.
And so that's what this is. So forget about land. It's the bigger picture here is there's all kinds of stuff that's, math came really easy to me in my entire academic career, and so did things like accounting. Didn't have to try at it real hard, so naturally I gravitated toward it. Everything else in an academic environment did not come easy to me, and my grades reflected that.
So what do you think about this? You brought up something about attitude, which I totally agree. I picked out of that whole speech. No, in a very positive way. Like, what are the nuggets here that you absolutely have to have? Seriously, attitude. Because you know what? A lot of those other pieces that you just brought up in our business, you can find a partner. And that's the thing. We have so many people in Land Academy that are the Jills or the Jacks. They're the talker. They're not the data person. Fill in the blank. But they have very smartly partnered with somebody like we have to fill in those gaps. That's the best.
I'm a self-identified. I'm terrible at operations. Anything from an operations standpoint, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at managing people. What I'm good at, to get over that, and to get over it to a point where it's acceptable, not to shine at it, just to be acceptable, is I hire the right people, train them, and then give them the tools to succeed. And that we have multiple people in Land Academy, the education company, and offers to owners who have, after a couple of years of working directly under me, are really shining now. And they've always, they're the ones who have risen up. There are lots of people that started with them that are no longer with us, but these are the people that are left here now are really doing a great job. And so, does that make me a great operations person? No, it was actually my complicated and psychological way to avoid being a manager, because I put people in place that can do it for me, and then kind of shoved them on their way like you do with children and hope for the best, and it worked out.
Yep.
The same thing can happen in this land career or anything else that you try.
I'm sure it's like anything, like, hey, so-and-so has a liquor store and they're making bank, or so-and-so has a bar and they're doing whatever. And you're like, well, shoot, if they can do it, I can do it. Hold on.
You can apply it to anything. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's not always that easy. But if you're passionate about it, you have the right information and hopefully some support, and you can do it. You can totally do it. But I just wanted you to know, that's what we wanted you to know today is, please don't think you can walk into this in 90 days, have a 2 to 3 hour work week, and be sitting in Greece. That's not realistic.
Making money for me, and I'll close on this, making a lot of money and having an amazing life because of it, I never gave myself any other option. Never. And so if that sounds familiar to you, then you're going to make whatever it is that you choose, they're going to make that work. Might take you 2 years, might take you 2 months, might take you 4 or 5 years. But that's it.
I love that. That's your goal. My goal is time. It's not even about the money. I'll get by with a lot less money to always have my time and have fun.
Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
We're Franklin County, Virginia. Would you do this deal? Access plenty. I like that. Buildable, yes, towards the end of the property on Dogwood Hill Road. 5.6 acres for work. No attributes. Attributes, none. Everybody's alive. Affordable, can be. Offer price was $7,300. Don't have any good comps to compare it to. We're working out thinks we could sell it for 20 grand. Property is selling in that zip code, but not near my property. So I'm completely unsure on the sales price. So buy for 7,300. It's across the road. Yeah, I see the plenty of access.
This is great.
I like it.
Look at this as a place for the sign.
I like it a lot. Oh, wow.
It goes right up there.
There's like a little creek along
I
there.
don't know.
If you scroll back over there, you turn the camera. Maybe. Oh yeah, it kind of like goes underneath there. Some runoff or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So that was 2021 Google car. As long as, okay, here's my thing now. Shoot. Now I'm not so into it. You see it?
What do you see?
I think that's the whole little something in there.
Oh, geez, it's all wet.
Mm-hmm. I think it might go down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shucks. Even though that one little piece is the flood area, I think it all drops down from there. And that's why I already built on the other side of the street. It's looking left over to me. No, wait, no. He built it in 1927. I bought it.
We're on his house.
The house is
still. I
built.
don't think we're on the target property.
You know what I was doing? I was looking for sale information, just assuming it was all bought at the same time. That's what I was going for. Yeah, I just think he happens to own both sides of the road and he never uses it. Look, it even picks up his thing again there.
Maybe it's perfectly okay and perfectly buildable. It's sending up some red flags about drainage.
Right.
And topography.
Mm-hmm. So we need to confirm. So those are trees. I thought that was a flat spot. It's the top of a tree. That's the trouble I'm having.
So you can see the part that's in the flood zone is way down here. The question is this usable part here?
That's
Wide enough?
75 feet. Yeah. So that's a call to the county. That's a call to the county to find out What can I do there? And where would it have to be to be able to use it?
From here to here is 13 feet, which is honestly not that big of a deal.
Of a drop.
Right.
And maybe there's a spot right there. I don't know.
Maybe there's another use for this too.
Mm-hmm. Not hunting. It's too small. I mean,
Yeah.
don't know. All right.
$7,300.
We have to find out. Yeah.
$2,300. $7,300 is cheap.
So toward the
So-
back of it is less stroped, like with the stream in the middle, right? And then you gotta have a little bridge to get to your property, which could still be cool. We just need to know.
Yep. Buy for
I-
7, sell for 20. Maybe now I can buy for 5, sell for 20. That's not so bad.
Maybe even cheaper. Just make sure that we can do something.
I am so excited to announce that Career Path is still open. So Career Path 7 and 8 are coming this fall. What is Career Path? It is our highest level of coaching. Basically, it's the Land Academy mastermind group, if you will. It's an 8-week intense program that's led directly by Jack and myself. And it's coming the end of September, like the 28th. I can't remember what it is. Here's what you do. Go to landacademy.com, look under programs, you'll find Career Path, and all the details are there. The schedule, how to apply, what's involved, everything. The people that are coming out of that, holy moly, the numbers that they're doing are just astronomical. And this is why. Career Path is for someone that's here to, you know,
Sit in Greece for the summer. For 4 years from now.
exactly. You know, that's the whole goal is to you're not here to mess around. This isn't a side thing or whatever. I'm not supplementing my income or supplementing this just to pay for fill in the blank my kids' college or something like that. This is for oh no, this is a family business. We are not messing around. That's Career Path. So check it out. We'd love to have you.
Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community. Again, if you want a sneak peek, go to landacademy.com. It's free. Today we're going to try something a little different. Instead of reading a question, although it might seem similar to you on the other end, but for us it's a little different. I'm going to open Discord in front of the screen for Jill and I. Jill doesn't even know about this.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to go to the most recent submissions in a few of the channels, and we're going to read maybe one or two or a few to see how it goes. How many? And she and I are going to comment about it, and
That's kind of cool.
we'll see how it goes. Might be a dismal failure. We don't know. All right, so here we are in Discord, and I'm going to look at a couple of the questions here, and we're just going to randomly pick some, and Jill and I are going to give us our opinion. Give us your opinion. Yuri says, how many extensions will you grant a buyer before putting your property back on the market? They put down 5 times what I requested in earnest money. So they want the property. It's meaning if he said I put $1,000 down, they put $5,000 down, but the transaction is dragging on much longer than I'm comfortable with. Any advice?
I wrote, well, my first question is what Sid already wrote. Why? Is it they didn't do their due diligence in time? That could be one. They could have put a deposit down before totally making sure they want the property. Number 2 could be they don't have the money to buy the property and they're running around scrambling trying to get they had the $5,000, but they don't have the $50,000.
That's the reason.
It could be something like that. So if they're getting some stuff done like surveys or appraisals or something like that because they need financing, they're doing that. I'm okay with that. And the lenders are, taking their time or they have some things they need to work through, whatever. I'm good with that, but I need to be in the loop and know what's going on. So I hate to say it, but how many extensions? It depends on what's going on, really. If they know in 90 days or not even that, let's just say they're going to build on it. They need a perk test and the guy can't get out there for 3 weeks and you know exactly that, I'm cool. But then if it's just fluff, like, oh, we want it, or we'll call you back, whatever like that, then I'm going to set a hard deadline with them and just say, here's what's going to happen. If I don't hear from you guys by this day, it's going back on the market. You have first right of refusal when I get another buyer, but I'm putting it back on the market, period.
So what's rooted in the way Jill answers all these questions and the way she solves the issues that that come about in our land business is through communication. And so she's going to answer this question based on what the seller says, or the buyer says. If the buyer says, I'm trying to get my money together and I'm waiting for my uncle to die because he's going to give me money, then no more extensions.
Right.
But if it's like, I've got $182,000 in this account over here and I'm waiting for the wire to clear, just give me till Thursday and we can close the deal. Okay. Extension number 2. It's all communication with Jill. For me, I would not have allowed a down payment in the first place. I would have said, this is an all cash deal. The escrow agent's going to handle it, and we're not extending.
Yep.
For me, I would ask myself, if this is happening, did I price this wrong? Why aren't there 50 people that want to buy this property?
Maybe there are.
What did I do? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What did I do that's causing this situation with these extensions? That's how I solve all problems, by looking in the mirror first. Is that right? I don't know. It works for me, but this is a good question. This is what Discord's for. Christian says, how much mail is everyone sending to get a deal they actually buy? Curious what kind of yield everyone is getting. Thanks. Hugely popular question. Again, top 5. It depends on your experience, and it depends directly on who's answering your phone. And to some degree, how you're pricing it. If you're pricing it effectively and you're doing everything right on my side, all the things that I do from a data standpoint, choosing the county, research and all of that, between 2,500 and 5,000 mailers is what you should be seeing from a yield standpoint. If Jill's answering your phone, it's going to be much better. And it's funny because we used to say when we started Land Academy, about 300-400 units you're going to buy a piece of property. This is like 2014 we said this, which used to be true. It was absolutely the case. And that's how it is kind of for us now anyway, but we can't say that.
Yeah.
We can't say that out loud. I mean, I'm saying it out loud here, but please don't expect those. Don't expect those kind of results. This is, 30 years plus of experience that she and I have. Bank on 5,000 if you're answering the phone right and doing the data piece right. What else, Jill? Thomas says, does anyone use the delinquent filter in data tree with any success? I've never used it. Delinquent, I believe, in data tree means the property is delinquent in some way, like the taxes aren't current. Data tree's financial component, whether or not there's a loan and how much is left on a loan and all of that, is pretty big in data tree. We don't use it because we think it pertains mostly to houses and to commercial property, not so much to land, because there's not a ton of property that has loans against it from a land standpoint. But the bigger picture here is that just because there's a button in a data overlay or data aggregator like data tree, and I'm not picking on them, they're definitely the best in the business for what we do. Just because there's a button there doesn't mean that what's behind it works.
Exactly.
If you are into mailing people only mailing people offers that are delinquent in their taxes, there's way better tools out there, starting with the county. Way better tools to use than data tree.
Exactly.
But now you're creating a tiny little mailer for yourself, which doesn't reek of success. Recklessly mail. Create the largest mailer you possibly can, and you're going to do a bunch of deals.
Okay, Fred wrote, hey everyone, I recently had a call with a landowner in Ohio who owns around 300 acres in an area known to have a lot of oil. The project is way too big, parentheses, financially for me. But I thought maybe there's a Land Academy member with big funds who looks for deals like this. Did not want to let this potential deal go to waste without informing you guys first. Please feel free to DM me. Love that. This is just a sweet little example of what goes on in here that people can't see and don't
Exactly.
know. So I'm sure behind the scenes, there's a conversation about this. Like, how much? What is it? I love oil property. I'm assuming it obviously comes with the mineral rights here. So, because that would be why it's so expensive. What's happening? That's so cool. And that's this group. See, people come into this sometimes thinking, well, what if I don't have the money to buy the deals? Don't worry about it. Just like Fred here. You stumble across something great, throw it out there and watch what happens. There's probably somebody in our group that is very set up for something like this. And so the deal won't go to waste.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm excited.
There's
That's a good
tons of opportunity like this in Discord and in Land Academy, obviously.
Totally.
Today's second topic is called working at full speed, but doing it ineffectively. This comes from a conversation that Jill and I had with somebody who's very successful in real estate, but I believe could be probably 10 times more effective. And she was kind of confiding in us about how hard she works. And believe me, she does really well financially, but she said flat out, half of my business is takes up 90% of my time.
Could I clarify? This is not a Land Academy member.
Yeah, this is somebody. I am my family and a ton of my really close friends from high school that I haven't seen for decades and decades are in Northern Michigan right now. So I'm meeting with them, all the time. And so this conversation came up, and to which we said, and our obvious answer was, well, why don't you take out this
Why
stuff?
is that?
Yeah.
Duh.
And I don't think we got an answer.
No, I don't think they got it. I don't think that's why we want to talk about it today.
So then it got to the point where Jill and I really, between the two of us, started saying, I wonder how much this happens. And is it important enough to actually create a submodule in Career Path? I think this is a huge issue. This is an offshoot of the old Steve Jobs quote where he's, what the biggest reason people fail is because they're not working on the right stuff. And what you don't work on is just as important as what you choose to work on. And the undertone in that statement is, I'm great. I know exactly what to do. I know how to make a ton of money. So now I'm going to take that as to, Roman numeral 2. What should I do? What should I work on? Where am I most effective? And me on the phone, that's not effective. Jill on the phone, really, really effective. Me in front of a database in a dark room is pretty effective. I'm going to come out of there with some answers in just a couple of hours.
That's a good idea. And Jill, could you imagine Jill go in a dark room, come back out, and have a perfect mailer? Okay, I would come out in tears.
Right. Well, it's not just that. It's not the tears. It's the big picture. Take a step back and what the heck am I doing anyway?
Yeah.
Maybe sending mail to Alaska doesn't make the most sense. Maybe sending mail to Michigan makes more sense. And I'm just picking on those two states. I don't know if they're effective or not from a mail recipient standpoint. But by the time I'm done looking at it, I'm going to know.
Exactly. And that it's interesting. And it's like some people feel like, I've noticed they feel like they have to be busy or appear busy to justify fill in the blank. And I don't think that's right. I'm like, and this individual that we're talking about that we met, like he said, really successful, but there's just so much running around and unnecessary talking. She plans these drives. She has to take drives to look at properties and show properties. And she'll spend the whole hour in the car talking. I'm going to argue, why don't you listen to a book on tape? Why don't you do something else? And some of these things, I don't even think it needs her. I think she sometimes puts herself out there where she doesn't need to. And I'm like, go to a movie. Do something fun with your time. You've earned it.
I think some people, I've noticed when I'm getting older, some people talk their way into what they want or talk their way out of what they don't want. And talking is the thing that, or communicating, let's just call it, whether it's on the phone or with a client or whomever, there's just so much talking that that's the way that they've learned. It's either a bad habit, which I don't think, or they've just learned over the course of a lot of years of doing it that the outcome's positive for them. Or at the end of it, they feel like, yeah, I tried.
I think sometimes they feel that it needs this much time. It needs 2 hours. It just, whatever it is, to get the deal done. No, it doesn't. You know how many deals I've done in one phone call? Seriously, on the buy side and the sell side. And it doesn't have to be a long phone call, too. We don't need to uncover stuff, get to the bottom of things, whatever it is. You want to buy the property? I mean, my main thing is with sellers. And we even had this within Land Academy. We've had people that have come in and felt like they have to have long conversations with sellers to win them over. I'm going to tell you right now, and this is what we teach in Land Academy, you could do this in 5 minutes.
I remember that.
Yeah. Remember I did that whole thing, that intensive thing too. You know, you should be able to connect with these people in less than 5 minutes. In less than 5 minutes, you should be able to answer the phone, calm them down, find out if they want to sell, and find out how much it's for, and get them on your side.
I'm going to address this slightly later in the show at the end about my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really see is a chronic problem that that is the beginning of the end for people financially is working on things that don't make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very hard in my teaching here or an instructional experience since Jill and I started this in 2014 or 15. I think you either come to Land Academy and understand that or you don't. It's not something I can sit there and explain or something that you relearn. And it has to do with math, just it's a natural ability with math. You know, I used to have a transaction coordinator a lot of years ago, and she was famous for saying, I work on all deals equally.
Oh.
This transaction, we're going to buy this. I know we're buying it for $1,000. We're probably going to sell it for $3,000. I just give that as much time as this one over here where we're buying for $80,000. I know we're going to sell it for $180.
It's not how I roll.
That's right. And she, you know, she had a military background, which is usually a massive positive thing for us from an employee standpoint, especially on the land side. But I think it was just taking orders, military background. I can't think out of this box. I'm only going to work on this thing that's right in front of me, and that's it. Mm. And so she lasted about 22 minutes in our environment back in that time.
Right.
Let's take a look at another one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
We can do something. Marshall County, Alabama. Purchase price $15,177. Thinks we can sell it for $40,000. So we've got two lots, 0.38 and 0.4. The new house around there is worth about $400,000. So minor slope, all utilities available, possible water view. Nice area. So I'm like to see this. I hope they're next to each other.
When I see immediately,
I see it.
vacant, 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 vacant. I see lots of vacant property.
There it is. So he owns both sides of the street.
And there's no street there.
Well, there's a street right there.
There's no cul-de-sac, which is where utilities are supposed to be. And all
Quick
that.
claim, that could
$1,000.
just be written in $1,000, or maybe he did pay $1,000 back in 2014. Document number 6324. And this one, same document. So it was all on one little transaction. So that may or may not be correct. Lot 8, double check HOA. When you see like lot 8, Cherokee Hills, I just want to.
Okay, good. So 2 lots to the northeast have brand new houses. Excellent.
Oh. So we're standing right where the cul-de-sac entrance could
This is
be.
beautiful.
There's the boxes to go to stuff.
So I hope this isn't, you know, let's look. I hope it's not way less graded than we think.
There's a bit of a drop there.
That's what I mean. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if this is a web view.
Whew, dodged that bullet.
It's freaking beautiful. Look at this.
I know. I don't know.
Where is it? I missed it.
Right down there.
I really, this house is substantially lower than this, and this is substantially higher. So I would check usability. It really concerns me that there's not any houses built here at all.
Well, we got one. We got one in here. When you go to the other view, the Google Earth I saw.
Like right here, right?
Yeah. There he is. So that's 2022. Maybe that's the new one.
This is 2020. This must be older then.
All right. Click on. All right. Let's see. Try this. Oh,
just
it's
see
right
what-
right there.
Maybe this is it.
All right. Let's just see real quick. Now, Perry. Who's Perry? Is that the company that they're just splitting them off? I mean.
We would be interested to talk to them. Is it usable in its current condition without some kind of serious grading? That's my question.
They have a whole acre across the street there, which is nice. There's like a half acre almost. I got to see some moving. I mean,
$300,000.
these are clearly infill lots, so we have to think about this too. There's one use. So we have to make sure we can build upon it. And is anybody doing it? And that's a full acre lot.
Yeah.
So that's very different.
It's a full acre lot. It's clearly a custom made home for $300,000. So you need to be at maybe 15,000 per property, which is where you are. So it's priced right if it's usable.
Well, he's buying it for 20. Oh, purchase price. Okay. Hopefully you're buying them. I hope 15
both are
for
for
both.
15. So do I.
So, yeah, that's it. You know
That's
what?
good.
Then
That
I'm okay.
really
So you're buying for $7,500, whatever
That's really good.
each. So I can wrap my head around it
Me
just
too.
to make sure that we can do what we want to do with it. For $7,500, Eric, I just let it wait as long as, again, there's going to be some movement and you're not staring at these. You're like, I could have spent that 15,000 on something else and tripled my money by now, because it's been a year and a half and nobody wants it because it's
That's
and
cheap.
then check the HOA.
That's Jill cheap.
Yeah.
Jill, you have something inspirational to share with us.
I do. I was thinking about a couple things. I was thinking about what makes someone really successful. And one of the things that I picked up on recently, spending time with your friends and, traveling the country, I noticed that there's like some cultural things that can make people successful. So let me give you an example. Like, I remember we lived in Southern California for 5 years. You remember that. We were on the beach there. It was awesome. And we were just down the hill from Palos Verdes. So Palos Verdes, where Marineland used to be, really pretty area up there. The 2 high schools up there are phenomenal. Like, we did our research because when we moved there, we were looking at where to be, put our kid in the right environment smartly. That was our goal. We did not live in Palos Verdes, but for other reasons, a little too quiet for us. Truth time. Anyway, so we lived just down the hill. But the funny thing is, these flipping kids, I remember being in a Starbucks in Palos Verdes, and a girl comes in, and she connects with her old high school buddy. Hey, how are you? Great. Nice to see you. Where you been? What are you doing? Well, I'm on a little break right now. I'm home from med school. I'm getting da-da-da. I'm like, of course you're in med school. And the next one jumps into whatever her professional. I'm like, these kids, it's just in them. They're raised to automatically, that's just how they are. So then fast forward to now, and we're connecting with, Jack's high school buddies. Haven't seen some of them in years, decades, and they're all flippin' successful. And I thought, gosh darn it, you Grosse Pointe kids had that same Palos Verdes mindset where you just go to college, you're going to be successful, and it's like, even you're going to run a company. That's kind of it. And I think because they're immersed in the Ford community, right, and all these big companies and all this stuff going on there, Ford and General Motors, fill in the blank, that's just all they know. Well, I'm from Garden Grove. I didn't have that. It wasn't the same mindset. It's so very interesting to me. So that's probably why I pick up on it. I'm like, this is a little bit foreign. So my point that I wanted to take here was, if you weren't in that environment, you need to put yourself in that environment, because that makes a difference. And I know that that's a lot of why people are here in Land Academy. When we launched Land Academy, I did not expect this community. We were sharing, I thought we would share our business model one by one, right, with individuals who would learn how to start, grow, have a company like us, and then ride off into the sunset. Period. And we'd never hear from them again. It was never about, let's make a Land Academy world. But what we found was everybody wanted that. I'm like, what? So I remember the first live event that we did a couple years ago, and everybody was so excited. I'm like, this is so interesting. They're like, no, you don't understand. we love seeing that we're not on an island, that we're not alone. It's not just my company against the world. I've got all these people in my group that are doing the same thing like me. I can bounce ideas off them. They're my peers. Heck, we could partner on deals. We could partner on all kinds of stuff. I'm like, this is amazing. So I just wanted to, share that with you and let you know whatever you want to do, you gotta not just put your hat on. I'm going to be a land investor today, but you got to put your hat on and stand shoulder to shoulder with other people that are doing it with you, and preferably that are ahead of you, because they're going to pull you up. Man,
that's true.
Get yourself in that situation.
To be fair, I didn't just grow up in a magic land.
Okay.
I realize now, after this many years ago, that we all kind of chose to be friends with each other based on personality traits that I think would lead to this.
Right.
It's not just the 100%, amazing high school environment that led to success. That wasn't it at all.
That's fair.
So, but when we had children, somebody said to me, it's always stuck with me, and not just in a raising children environment, but just nature nurture. It's the age old nature nurture discussion. She said, when you're raising your children, you're either emulating what your parents did with you. You're recreating that because you had a good success with it, or you're completely going to do 180 degrees different what they did because they sucked as parents. And so, both things lead to the same place, which is happiness and success for your children, which is what we all want.
Right.
And so in the end, I think it's probably a combination of both, especially because the way technology is, there's so much more, our kids are exposed to technology way more than we ever were. I don't care who you are. That's just how it is. And so there's a huge issue here about, again, looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I'm the product of that's an amazing high school / parental environment. And I honestly look back on that. We didn't have any choice we had a choice about where to go to college, not whether or not we were going to go. And Jill describes it differently in the environment that she grew up in, to the point where I think that she was held up a little bit because of her gender, which is just an outrage. Absolutely an outrage when you think about it. It's an outrage anytime ever, but especially, in the 90s. So that's just ridiculous to even think about. But the fact is, you got to overcome or ride whatever the hand that you were dealt.
True.
What we're not talking about is blaming your circumstances or environment.
Oh, totally.
What we're talking about is taking advantage of it, deconstructing it, looking at what's good about it, what sucks about it, and using it to your benefit.
Excellent. Hey, Jack, what do you have to share with us today?
Somebody from our most recent career path put this in the career path section of Discord, and I will never forget it. And it's something that I will use with our employees shortly. He said his friend came to him and said, you need to tape a $100 bill to your monitor, your computer monitor where you work every day, and stare at it. Because whatever you're working on, if it's not generating revenue, you need to stop what you're doing and find somebody else to do that. A great example is me talking on the phone. That's not going to generate revenue. It's just not. Jill talking on the phone is a money machine, to the point where she doesn't need to have a computer monitor or a $100 bill, because honestly, that's all she really does. I, on the other hand, have some operational responsibility in the education company's Land Academy and offers to owners. And so some of the stuff that I do, it's not generating revenue. Along the same lines, so really please soak that in, because working on the wrong stuff will stop you from being successful at anything you're doing. I also read, and it was an accident that I read it, but I loved it by the time I got done, was a short piece by Grant Cardone. He's not somebody I follow. The guy's got an amazing dynamic personality. But I don't religiously follow and doing what he says. Most of what he says makes a lot of sense to me anyway. He said that without leaving the current position that you're in, the job that you're in, you can 10 times your revenue. And here's how. Whatever you do in your job, whatever it is, for whatever company that you work with, for you to get, if you can get closer to the gold, you will be 10 times more successful. And what he means is, if you work in the mail shop, the mail room, which they probably don't even have anymore in the world, if you work in the mail room, you're about as far removed as you possibly can in whatever office you're working in to the revenue. Really what he means is sales. Wherever the money's coming in, whoever's in charge of that, they are dying for more money to come in. So then I got to thinking, all right, I used to be in accounting. And how did I rise up through the ranks faster than I ever could have imagined? Because I went out and got more clients. I increased that revenue and literally made partner in a large accounting firm because of that. I didn't know that at the time. It just made sense to me that it's so easy to share without breaking confidentiality, share what we're working on and go out and get more clients and tell them why they need to be thinking about this other thing over here that their competitor might be thinking about. Again, without breaking any confidentiality. So you need to be working on revenue.
I love it. Thank you. That was so great. Hey, don't forget, you can reach us for questions and help simply by texting 480-530-7383.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.